counselor, you and her will sit up there, we'll have you sit here.
No.
But I've got the photo of sitting out there with a knife.
Yeah,
So,
and then I could actually way bigger than
well, it was way worse. you said? Well,
that. At the night, it was actually very.
Please rise. There's your district court is now closed.
You may be seated. Are you ready? It's okay. Hey, are you busy? Could you come on and do our Zoom for us for a little bit? Okay. Yes. And just move people into the, Heather's gonna come in, put them in.
Okay.
And just put them in the breakout rooms with each other. I have one in-person hearing. Okay, thanks. I know, but I need to do one thing so I can get. You can go back in, correct. This is 2302326 LT. This is Maple Leaf Gardens versus Michael Shiverton. May I have your appearances, please?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. For the record, Daniel Landman, P35797, appearing on behalf of.
And sir, state your name for me, please. These are the notices I got in the mail today.
Oh, for today. Okay, awesome.
Today is the day and time set for the evidentiary hearing in this matter. Mr. Shiverton is here and has been in the court Zoom for at least a half an hour and is not connecting his audio. This court, through court staff, have made efforts to get him to connect the audio. I'm still trying to do that. Mr. Shiverton. He's acknowledged that he sees it. Thank you, though. Mr. Lamon, we're going to pass this matter momentarily. You can keep your seat. And if Mr. Shiverton is unable to connect, then we'll have no choice but to proceed without him. Thank you. Where did she just go? This is 2302556 LT. This is Southport Apartments versus Ashley Betts. May I have your appearances, please?
Hi,
State your name, please, ma'am.
Ashley Betts.
And good afternoon, Your Honor. Mark Swessinger, standing in for the attorney of record,
Thank you.
Richard Hill,
Today's the day
Southport
and time.
Apartments.
Today's the day and time scheduled for the adjourned hearing in this matter. Mr. Swessinger, what is the rent to retain possession in this case?
Rent to retain $3,205.08. There's $166 in court cost. Total to retain possession $3,371.08.
Ms. Betts, were you able to hear Mr. Swessinger just now?
Yes, I was, but can he repeat that final number one last time?
$3,205.08 in past due rent. Plaintiff is requesting $166 in court costs for a total judgment of $3,371.08. Is the amount of rent claim due accurate, ma'am?
To the best of my knowledge.
Ma'am, inasmuch as you do not dispute the amount of rent claim due and owing, there is not a tribal issue in fact, and plaintiff is entitled to entry of judgment in that amount. Ma'am, have you made application for rental assistance?
No, I wasn't aware of exactly how to do that.
Ma'am, there would have been information contained in the summons and complaint that directed you or provided the names of different agencies where you could make application, but for today's purposes, judgment will enter in favor of plaintiff and against defendant with the dollar amounts that Mr. Swessinger placed on the record. He will file that electronically with the court. The court will sign it and a copy will be mailed to you at the address we have on record. Is there anything else, Ms. Betts?
No, so for lack of better terms, can you like sum up exactly what you're saying?
Which part is confusing? I don't know what to summarize if I don't know what's confusing to you.
So they're just going to mail me something stating that amount?
No, the court will mail you something. Mr. Swessinger's office will file it electronically with the court. I'll sign it and then a copy will be mailed to you.
Okay, understood.
Okay.
Yes.
And Judge,
Anything else, Ms. Betts?
Oh, no, go ahead, Mark.
just for the record, Judge, I have a red date of January 8th, 2024.
Yes, sir. Anything else, Ms. Betts?
Nope, that'll be all.
Thank you, ma'am. You're free to go. You have a good day. Good luck to you.
Good luck to you, Ms. Betts.
Thank you. Oh, okay, wait. Oh, wait. And then do I have on that paper, it'll be like a specific due date?
Yes, ma'am. It will say January 8th, 2024.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
This is 2302213 LT, Rawsonville versus Jenkins and Jenkins.
Your Honor, for the record, Attorney Ian Morton of Pallett's Law on behalf of Rawsonville Woods. I see that Ms. Rence Jenkins has appeared. This is, I think, the second or third hearing. If you could put us into a breakout room that does not appear I have the ability to do so, it'd be nice for us to be able to speak.
Absolutely. Let's get you situated there. Mary Ann's in the office. She'll get you connected in the breakout room. Mr. Swessinger, the next thing I have you for, I think, is 130 Quates.
Oh, it's 1:30. Okay, then I will be back at 1:30. I had it at 1, so 1:30 it is. I'll see you then, Judge.
At 1 o'clock was Southport versus Brown that we received a dismissal in.
Right. I also, on
Okay.
my notes, I had Kate Quates at 1 p.m. So if it's 1:30, I will log back in 20 minutes, Judge.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Rens Jenkins, you should see an invitation going to the breakout room with Mr. Morton. Please join him there.
I don't see anything for that on my.
This is a recall of 2302326 LT Maple Leaf versus Cheverton. Sir, unmute yourself and state your name for the record.
Unmute. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, now. Thank you. State your name, sir.
My name is Michael Anthony Shiverton.
Thank you. Today's the day and time set for the evidence you're hearing in this matter. Mr. Lamon.
Your Honor, this is a termination action based upon alleged violations of community rules at Maple Leaf Gardens. It is alleged that Mr. Shiverton has on multiple occasions interfered with the quiet enjoyment of not only other residents in the community, but also their guests. We're prepared today to present not only the property manager, Randy Conway, but also two women who have been, for want of a better phrase, victimized by Mr. Shiverton. Mary Wood, who is a neighbor who has called the police on Mr. Shiverton on multiple occasions, including one in which Mr. Shiverton was brandishing a butcher knife in plain sight, and also a friend of Ms. Wood's who has witnessed that conduct as well. The statute provides that a manufactured home park resident tenancy may be terminated for violation of community rules that interferes with the enjoyment, quiet enjoyment of other tenants. So we're prepared to present Ms. Conway, who will testify as to the terms of the lease, and then the other young ladies will testify as to the specific incidents which have led rise to the issuance of the 30-day notice on October 9th of 2023.
Thank you. Mr. Shiverton, do you have all documents and witnesses you need to proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Plaintiff calls Randy Conway.
Ms. Conway, you're going to stop at this podium first. Please state your first and last name and then spell them both for the record.
Randy Conway, BRANDY, CONWAY.
Raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Come have a seat in this black chair that's closest to me, please. Mary Ann, my secretary, is recording your testimony. If she's unable to hear you, I'll ask you to raise your voice or scoot closer to the microphone. And the answers are yes, no, not not head shakes, because it's not going to be picked up, okay? Mr. Lamon.
Ms. Conway, are you employed?
Yes,
Where are you employed?
at Maple Leaf Gardens.
In what
North.
capacity?
I'm the general manager.
In the course and scope of your employment as general manager, have you become familiar with an individual named Michael Shiverton?
Yes, I have.
Is he currently a tenant at Maple Leaf Gardens, manufactured home community?
Yes,
And it's Maple Leaf Gardens South, is that correct?
that's correct.
There's also a Maple Leaf Gardens North. Mr. Shiverton is a tenant having signed a lease, is that correct?
That's correct.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as plaintiff's proposed exhibit 1. May I first witness your report?
Yes.
And ask if you can identify it.
Yes, this is the lease Michael Shiverton has signed with us.
Is that lease maintained in the ordinary course of business at Maple Leaf Gardens South?
Yes.
How is it maintained?
Well, you know, with the rules and the lease itself, we make sure that the residents are abiding by the lease and the rules of the community.
Is the lease itself kept in a file?
Yes, it is.
Does each tenant have their own file at Maple Leaf Gardens South?
Yes, they do.
And what other items are maintained in the
There's violations, there's things of that nature, there's, all of the lease documents that they sign are also included in that file at the office.
Is payment history also maintained there?
No, that is maintained inside of our system and Rent Manager.
All right. So Mr. Shiverton's lease is maintained and available daily.
Yes, that's correct.
And the rules and regulations are also available daily.
Yes,
And in fact, Mr. Shiverton, did he sign this particular lease personally, or did he e-sign it?
nope, he was in person when he signed it.
Okay. And he approved the community rules as well as the lease itself?
Yes, he did.
Your Honor, subject to any voir dire on the part of the defendant, plaintiff moves for the admission of Exhibit 1.
Any objection, Mr. Shiverton?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. It's received.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I approach the witness? in the
Yes.
court to provide the copy of the exhibit?
Thank you.
Ms. Conway, I'm going to call your attention to the rules and regulations. I believe they're 16 pages in length. I think the first 11 pages are the terms of the lease, and then we get to the rules and regulations. And I'd like you to refer to the bottom of page 2 and the top of page 3 of the rules and regulations. Can you track that down for me?
Yes.
Have you found it?
Yes, sorry.
And there's paragraph 4 under the rules and regulations, which relate to tenant conduct. And I'd like you to, if you would, read into the record paragraph 4A and 4B.
Tenants are responsible for their own conduct as well as their guests. Tenants and guests shall conduct themselves in a fashion that ensures the comfort, peace of mind, and quiet enjoyment to others. Tenants and guests shall comply with federal, state laws, local government ordinances, and these rules and regulations. This includes compliance with any state or local curfew regulations.
And then B relates to noise. Would you read that into the record as well?
Noise or unruly behavior that disrupts the peaceful enjoyment of others is prohibited. Such disturbances include, but are not limited to, loud stereo, TV, radio, and vehicle noises. This policy is always in effect.
And there's also, further down the page 3, there's a specific section devoted to weapons. Are weapons permitted at Maple Leaf Garden South?
No, they are not.
And there's a big list of weapons, and I don't need you to read it into the record, but are knives included as a weapon that is not permitted?
Yes, they are.
Now, did there come a point in time where you received complaints from one or more residents concerning Mr. Shiverton's conduct?
Yes, I have.
Approximately how many occasions? Don't guess, but if you can give me a reasonable, whatever you recall.
That I can think of off the top of my head, I would say there's been about 5 occasions within a very short time.
And what was that time frame?
Within a 2-month time frame.
Within a 2-month time period?
Yes.
And do you remember the 2 months?
I can't be very specific on it.
All right. There came a point in time, however, where you requested that our office issue what's called a 30-day notice under MCL section 600.5714E. Did you make that request of our office?
Yes, I did.
And it was issued on October 9th. So is it fair to state that that 2-month time period somehow either backed up to or included October 9th?
Yeah, I that's what I was thinking. It was within that time frame. Excuse me. It was within that time frame. That's why I had asked if we could file this 30-day.
And in fact, you did receive a formal written complaint from at least from a resident directly complaining about Mr. Shiverton.
Yes, true? I did.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and ask Ms. Wood about that particular email because she was the one that issued, but you recall receiving it.
Yes, I do.
Was that the trigger that then resulted in your requesting that our office take action?
Yes, it was.
And you approved that on behalf of Maple Leaf Garden South?
Yes, I did.
And you do wish, as of today, to have Mr. Shiverton evicted?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have no further questions of Ms. Conway.
Thank you. Mr. Shiverton, do you have any questions for Ms. Conway?
Miss Conway is who, ma'am?
The general manager of Maple Leaf.
Do I have any questions for her? Yes, I do. My first
Proceed.
question is, why in America would you not think that I'm going to encounter this being the only Black man on this street and around a bunch women that are white women? Like, how is it because it's hearsay, and I have people who have cell phones.
Mr. Shiverton,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm interrupting you because you have a right to ask a question, but it sounds like you're testifying. Do you have questions for Ms.
Yes, I do.
Conway?
Yes, I do. Ms. Conway, do you believe that this is in any way racially motivated?
Do you believe that this is racially motivated?
I do not.
May I ask why? Looking at the color of my skin?
I don't think the skin color played any part of it. We've received complaints from multiple residents.
About what, ma'am?
Nobody has ever mentioned the color of your skin.
Why would they mention it? You think they're gonna admit that they're racist, ma'am? Is it safe to say that of course they're not gonna admit it, they're just gonna make it like I'm some bad human being? Because I have not, okay, my question is this.
Thank you.
My question is this. Have I committed any crimes out here? I would like a yes or no answer.
I'll object, Your Honor, only in terms of, I think the witness contends.
I thought I could ask a question.
She's not a police officer.
I thought I could ask a question though. May I ask a question?
You can ask, sir, you can ask questions, but the attorney has a right to object to it. He's objected
Yes,
to the
ma'am.
question. Do you have any response to his objection?
Yes, I have a response to that. I'm not surprised you're objecting. That's my response. I'm not surprised, ma'am, about that. I didn't
The
expect.
objection is sustained. Your next question, Mr. Shiverton.
How long is, if I was found to be evicted in this situation, legally, and this is for Miss Conway, legally, how long do you have to give me throughout the law to be able to move and by law?
Your Honor, I'll object in that it calls for a legal conclusion. Ms. Conway can certainly answer the question if she knows.
I
I'm
do
sure
not know. I don't.
Did you hear the objection, Mr. Shiverton?
Yes, ma'am. May I respond,
You have a
please?
response to the object? Absolutely.
My response is that I'm sure she's been through this before. Why does she not know the answer to that question?
The objection was that it was calling for a legal conclusion. Do you have a response to Mr. Lammons' objection?
Yes, concerning, let's just say that I was found to where I was evicted. How long would I legally have to access another home and sell my trailer? How long would I have?
Mr. Shiverton, I suggest that you did not hear Mr. Lammons' objection. His objection was that it called for a legal conclusion. As a matter of information, there is a minimum of 10 days required from judgment to application for writ, if that answers your question.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. No further questions for her, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
No redirect, Your Honor, but if I may, if Mr. Shiverton owns his home, I believe that he would also be entitled to 90 days to move or sell the home.
Correct.
Thank you, sir, for
Thank
that. That gives me, thank you for answering that. Thank you very much.
And I have no redirect of this comment.
Thank you. Ms. Conway, you may step down. Mr. Lamont, I'm going to pass you for just one moment. There are some other matters. There is 2302391 LT Swan Creek versus Lee.
Afternoon, Your Honor. Attorney Elizabeth Ellison, P82098 for the plaintiff. Your Honor, we are moving to dismiss this matter. I did submit it to my file, but I don't think it has made it to your desk.
It didn't reach the file as of an hour ago. Thank you, Ms. Ellison. I'll make a notation that we're looking for the dismissal. Thank you. And then there's 2302406 LT Swan Creek versus Melissa Vukola.
Attorney Elizabeth Ellison, P82098 for the plaintiff, Your Honor.
Ms. Ellison, this case was scheduled at 1 o'clock. It's now 1:25 by the court's clock. Melissa Vucolo. There are a couple of unidentified persons in the court's breakout sessions. Give us one moment, Ms. Ellison.
No worries, Your Honor.
Your next witness, Mr. Lamon.
Thank you, Your Honor. Plaintiff calls Mary Wood.
Ms. Wood, state your first and last name and spell them both for the record, please.
Mary Catherine Wood, MARY KATHRYNWOOD.
Raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Please come have a seat in this black chair that's closest to me. Give me 1 second, Mr. Lamon. I'm gonna try to clean this.
That's fine, Your Honor.
Even though we've done this now 3 times, there are people who still don't connect their audio. Miss Ellison, I did not get a response. Their unnamed people would not connect their audio. We will deem Ms. Faluco to have failed to appear this afternoon. How would you like to proceed, ma'am?
Your Honor, this time I would proceed and ask the court for a default judgment. This is the third hearing, Your Honor.
Rent or retain possession?
$2,089.95,
Court costs?
$177.66.
Please submit your default judgment by on base my file. I'll sign it and get it back to you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Have a good day, ma'am. Mr. Swessinger.
Hello again, Your Honor.
Sir, I'm going to make you co-host. I'm in the middle of a hearing. If you see your tenants, would you grab them and take them into a breakout room with you? We'll call your cases at the conclusion of this hearing.
Will do, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. To the gentleman with the Superman shirt on, your name, please.
Ronald Hudson.
Ronald Hudson, we'll get you relabeled, sir. Give us a moment.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Lamon.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Wood, where do you live?
I live at 6003 Winchester. That's Maple Leaf South in Van Buren Township.
And I believe that the notice, the 30-day notice terminating tenancy was sent to Mr. Shiverton at 6011 Winchester. Where is 6011 Winchester in relation to your home?
It is the home directly south of mine.
So it's next door.
Correct.
How long have you resided at 6003?
It'll be 3 years in July.
How long?
I'm sorry,
has Mr. Shiverton,
4 years.
How long has Mr. Shiverton been your neighbor?
I believe he's been there about a year or so less than I have.
And you did not form any preconceptions about Mr. Shiverton based on the color of his skin when he moved in, correct?
Absolutely not.
Now, during the course of your tenancy or your coexistent tenancy with Mr. Shiverton, have you made any complaints to the community office about his conduct?
Almost every day, yes.
All right. Your Honor, I have a couple of exhibits that are sitting waiting to be marked.
I also have about 100 more videos in my phone.
All right, well, we're not, I don't think we need
Mr.
to
Lamon.
show.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what happened to Heather?
On those occasions where you have made complaints, were they all in writing?
At first they were in by phone, and it was becoming so habitual that Brandy asked me to start putting them in writing so that we could start forming a case here, because this has been going on for a very long time, 2 years.
And you also had occasion to call the police on this.
Yes, and it's to the point where, you know, nothing ever happens because he outsmarts them. So he will antagonize me and antagonize for hours, berating me outside, yelling and screaming. And then when I finally get to the point where I call the police, he can see from both directions and he sees them coming down the street and he turns off all the lights, goes in his house, and the police can never make contact. And then they leave and he comes right back outside.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as proposed exhibit 3. And ask, and I want to, don't read it. All right, I just want to know if you recognize. And I realize that the print is very, very small, and I'll take the responsibility for that.
Yes, this is correct.
Right. And what is that document?
This is a document that is typical of what I would send every day. Just the incident that had occurred, what time, exactly what happened.
All right. I don't want you to read it yet. Did you write this document?
I don't understand how I could say I wrote it if I can't read it.
Well, I don't want you to, I want to find out what your recollection is of certain incidents without your referring to the document. You may have to refresh your recollection.
Yes,
But-
I just read the very first sentence and this, I am familiar, yes. That I
Okay.
read this. Yeah.
And you generated this and sent it to Brandy?
Correct.
And it appears to bear a date of October 2nd, Monday, October 2nd, 2023. Is that correct?
Correct.
Your Honor, subject to any voir dire on the part of Mr. Shiverton, we move to the admission of plaintiff's exhibit 3.
Any objection, Mr. Shiverton?
As far as objection, do you mean any objection to what I just heard?
To the court receiving the document, sir.
Not at all.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Now, again, before you refer to the document, this particular exhibit lists several incidents of conduct on the part of Mr. Shiverton. I'm going to ask whether you have independent recollection as we sit here today, several months later.
Sure.
All right. The first date that you make a complaint about is Friday, September 22nd, 2023. Do you remember specifically what happened on that date? What his conduct was? Or would you need to refer to the exhibit?
Sir, I apologize, but this goes on almost every single day. So that specific day, I can't recall the exact nature of the incident.
I understand it might blend together.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask similarly, you don't remember specifically what occurred on September 23rd.
If that is the day that he was brandishing the knife outside, I was at home. I had my friend Ashley over. We were doing each other's hair, dyeing each other's hair, and Michael immediately saw my friend over and decided to start annoying us basically and becoming obnoxious and just, you know, yelling and screaming and, you know, and then all of a sudden he's dressed up, you know, telling us that he's a thug and thug life and all this stuff. And then he's got the knife and it's, you know, he's just, it's scary because I don't know the drugs he's on, the alcohol. I don't know when he's going to snap, if he's going to snap. I don't know how to encounter him. And so if that's the day, then that's what we're.
Well, I'm not gonna, we'll come back to the exhibit for a moment.
Okay.
When you saw Mr. Shiverton with the knife, did you take a picture of that?
I did. I took video and picture.
And this was a picture on your phone?
Correct. And that's part of the video.
Right. I'm going to show you what's been marked as plaintiff's proposed exhibit 2 and ask if you can identify it.
Yes, that is my neighbor, Michael.
All right. And is that the picture that you took with your phone?
It was actually a video, but I screenshot this to create a picture, a still picture.
You were the source of it.
Correct.
All right. Your Honor, plaintiff moves for the admission of exhibit 2, subject to any word here on the part of the defendant.
Mr. Shiverton, any objection? Mr. Lamon, it'll be received.
No, when I was looking at it.
Thank you.
Now, let's go back, if I can, to exhibit 3, Ms. Wood. I'm going to let you go ahead and read the exhibit, if you would. I'm going to ask if that refreshes your recollection about the events of these various days, September 22nd, 23rd, 29th, 30th, and October 1st. And then a couple incidents on October 1st.
Yes, this was the most appalling situation that I've had to encounter with him.
Does it refresh your recollection as far as?
Oh, yes.
Is it typical for Mr. Shiverton to curse at you?
Very much so.
Has he ever yelled at you and called you racist?
Again, almost every day.
Okay. To the best of your knowledge, have you engaged in any kind of conduct or activity that would support that contention that you were racist?
I don't see how. I work 3 jobs, so I just. look
Am I,
at peace and
am I in the
quiet.
right courtroom?
And you have referenced a couple of times in Exhibit 3 where he indicated that he claimed that he was going to butcher you. Has he
Correct.
threatened you with that type of language on multiple occasions?
Yes, that is one line that has been used many times.
Have there been other threats against your life?
You know, yes, but I couldn't give you an exact date or time on those. I would have to I have everything on my phone where it's on video, so I'd have to show you that, but I couldn't tell you the exact dates or times and all that. Like this, again, this has been going on for a very long time, but it's just this short window that you guys are hearing about.
All right. Your Honor, I do not have any further questions in this book.
Thank you. Mr. Shiverton, do you have any questions for Ms. Wood? You're muted, Mr. Shiverton.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Do you have any questions for Ms. Wood?
Now, Ms. Wood, have you ever called me a Nigger?
I do not recall.
Yes, you do.
No, I do not. But Mr. Shiverton.
Hold on. No, there's no question. You said no. Mr. Shiverton,
You didn't say
if you
no.
have questions, if you have questions for her, ask her questions. You'll be sworn in if you want to give testimony, okay?
I'm not giving testimony. I'm asking her a question. Mary, have you ever called me personally an N-word? That's a question.
I do not recall.
Been asked and answered at this point.
Okay, well, so you don't. Well, here's another question. How could you not remember if you called someone a Nigger? How could you not remember that?
Well, because I was probably in a state of complete fear and just exhaustion from dealing with being berated and harassed for hours and hours on end without saying a word to you. And then, yeah, if I snapped, it may have been, and I don't remember because the anger was so strong. Because I tried to deal with you.
Have you ever physically put your hands on me? You have to answer.
Yes, I have.
You have physically ran up on me, scratched me, and clawed me, and tried to get me to hit you back.
No.
So
I tried to remove your animal from your home.
You have put your hands on me.
Not take care of it because you have no job or nothing all day.
Ma'am.
My job.
You understand, every time you start talking, no, you're not, because you keep doing it. Every time you talk, it makes his audio cut off.
Oh.
You know, see, okay, Mr. Shiverton, your question, sir.
My question, Mary, have you ever physically put your hands on me?
Yes, I have.
Thank you. Have you sent one of your friends? Did you have a physical man friend of yours come fight me and try to beat me up?
I do not know anything about that.
So your male friend.
Witness or see anything. I really have no idea what that is in regard to.
But you do remember when your friend tried to steal my cat? Do you remember that when your friend was like,
I was not home at that time.
You were there. You understand?
I was not there.
So how would I be encountering
I was not there. I had left my house I was
No,
not
you-
there at that time.
Okay. Okay, I just gotta do questions, okay? So, okay, we'll accept that as your answer, but, you are on the stand and you have said that you were gonna tell the truth. And I was there, and these are lies, so I'm gonna.
Mr. Shiverton, respectfully, I'm asking you to ask questions because there's some other people who have been waiting since 1 o'clock as well. So if you have questions for her, I will take them.
Yes, ma'am. Another question for me. Have you tried to conspire with other neighbors to try to, have you told me that you want me kicked out a year or two ago, a long time ago? Did you tell me that personally?
Absolutely, yes, 100%, absolutely, I have, yes.
Saying that you are doing things to try to get me kicked out. You're admitting that.
You are doing
want
them to yourself, sir.
Mayor,
You are
okay,
creating your own mess and you know it.
how is that an answer, Your Honor? Is that answering the question, yes or no? I just want a yes or no answer. A year
I said
ago.
absolutely, yes.
So you said that you were gonna try to do things to get me kicked out. You're admitting it.
Oh, no, I was trying to get people to put things in writing, which other neighbors would not do. I'm the only one that would put it in writing because other people are afraid of you.
No one's. Okay. My next question is, I don't have any further questions. That's all the answers I needed. No matter what
Thank you.
happens.
Any redirect, Mr. Lamon?
One question, Your Honor. I didn't hear the answer. Ms. Wood, you testified that you did put your hands on Mr. Shiverton once. What were the circumstances behind it?
No reason.
Circumstance.
I'm sorry, Mr. Shiverton? I can't hear her if you're talking while she's talking, okay?
He's asking her why would she have an excuse to put her hands on me, and that she doesn't. You can't put your hands on me. I'm a human being. That's against the
Mr.
law.
Shiverton, what will happen is whatever you're doing is causing noise to disrupt the courtroom. I don't want to mute you because I want you to have the ability to object or respond or whatever, but you are disrupting the proceedings right now. Mr. Lamon is redirecting, so please be quiet.
Yes, ma'am.
The circumstances?
Circumstances where I was mowing my grass on a Friday, and Mr. Shiverton came walking past my house, very much intoxicated, and he was bleeding, and I was taken aback. He approached me in my yard, and after exchanging words, he wiped the blood from his face onto my lawnmower. And so I'm sorry, but I did lose my cool, and I pushed him and I lost it.
So that's the September 22nd incident that is in Exhibit 3.
There was another incident as well. And that was when in the middle of the night, there were repeated strangers coming over, loud noise, yelling and screaming. And he had just taken in this kitten who was terrified. And
why do you keep trying to say that? Now you know
what was
kitten.
You know what a kitten kitten tell you personally? My cat named Terrified. Excuse me, I'm not even gonna talk.
Anyways, yes, this time I tried to remove the kitten from his possession because I felt that it was in danger.
So those are the two occasions that
Correct.
you recall where you touched Mr. Shiverton.
Yes.
And one of those was on your property, or both?
One mine, one his.
You testified that he's made threats against you. Has he come to your property and made those threats from your yard?
Technically, it's none of our yard. We rent the yard from Maple Leaf South, so there is technically, from my knowledge, no ownership of the land. So
It's on your side of the street.
Well, it's.
Or your
it's-
side of next door.
Well, it could be either one. I mean, it could be from his yard or my yard, because essentially we share like half of his yard, well, a small portion of his yard is also mine. So, you know, on that side where I have to go to mow, is his yard also.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Wood, you may step down. Mr. Lamb, and I'm taking another opportunity to get some of these other people cleared out of here. This is 2302213 LT, Rawsonville Woods versus Jenkins.
Your Honor, for the record, Attorney Ian Morton of Pallets Law on behalf of Rawsonville Woods.
Ms. Jenkins, state your name for the record, please, ma'am.
Carolyn Rentz-Jenkins.
The parties have had the opportunity to speak. Mr. Morton, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, the parties have agreed to enter into a proposed consent judgment agreement. Rents retained are $5,096.80, core costs of $219.51, for a total of $5,316.31. I will tell you, the court, that I know Ms. Rentz-Jenkins was on video before. I asked her to turn the video off because I think she was getting better signal without the video on. So I want to advise the court that I did give her that direction. Further, I advised of her rights, specifically the fact that this agreement would not be final for 3 business days, which, you know, which I'll put in the in the judgment, but I listed that as the 3rd based off the timelines of the holidays coming up. Also, the fact that she would have 10 business days, which would take her out until, according to my records, the 8th of January to be able to make this payment. And she gave me permission to put her name on the agreement. From my understanding, she is in communications with Mr. Jenkins, but he's not here today. There was a little bit of distortion when we were communicating, but I think we were able to communicate all the standard information. She's also getting assistance, which she expects to be able to get a final decision on within the next 7 days.
Thank you. Ms. Rentz-Jenkins, is everything Mr. Morton said true and accurate?
Yes, it is.
And ma'am, you understand the terms of the consent judgment that Mr. Morton's office will be submitting for entry?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about the consent judgment or today's proceedings?
No, I don't.
Thank you. The court will await receipt of that document, Mr. Morton. Ms. Rentz-Jenkins, that concludes the matter. You're free to go. You have a good day. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. This is 2302855 LT, Maxwell versus Julian Marshall.
Good afternoon, Judge Joe Joseph for plaintiff.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Mr. Marshall had been here at the last hearing, but left before the matter was called. Court scheduled the matter again for today at 1:15. It's now 1:52 by the court's clock. The court has not seen Mr. Marshall. How would you like to proceed?
At this time, Judge would be asking the court to enter a default judgment for possession only. Records should reflect there's rent. Give me 1 second here. Okay, rent to retain is $523 plus a court cost of $168, totaling $691. We're seeking judgment in that amount with a writ date of January 8th.
Thank you, sir. Please submit the default judgment with those terms. There's 2302891 LT, Pinewoods versus Lakeisha Fuller.
Again, Joe Joseph for plaintiff.
This case was scheduled at 1:30. Ms. Fuller was here on December 20th. The case was adjourned to today. It's now 1:53 by the court's clock. Lakeisha Fuller, defendant having failed to appear this afternoon. Mr. Joseph, how would you like to proceed?
At this time, Judge, we are seeking entry of a default judgment for possession only. There's rent to retain $2,813, court cost of $168, totaling $2,981 with a writ date of January 8th.
Thank you. The court will enter the default judgment upon receipt. This is 2302905 LT, Maxwell versus Maurice Reese. Mr. Reese, unmute yourself and state your name for the record, please, sir.
Okay, hello,
State your name for me, sir.
Maurice Reese.
Mr. Reese, you had the opportunity to speak to Mr. Joseph this afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Joseph, how are we proceeding in this matter?
Judge, there's a fundamental dispute as to what's owed. Therefore, we're asking the court to set this for a trial date.
January 24th at 2:30 PM. Notice will be mailed to the parties at the addresses that we have on record.
Thank you. And that'll be in person
Yeah.
or Zoom, Judge.
Mr. Reese, do you want to appear for trial in person or on Zoom?
It really doesn't matter.
Mr. Joseph, does your office have a preference?
Easier for Zoom, but if the court has, preference for it to be in person, if for exhibits exchanging and whatnot, that's fine too.
Zoom it is, Mr. Joseph. I would just ask that your office submit any documents you want the court to consider before that date. Same to you, Mr. Reese. If there are any documents that you want the court to consider, submit them before the January 24th date so they have the opportunity to be matched with the file. Other than that, anything else, Mr. Joseph?
Nothing further on this, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Reese, anything else?
No, ma'am. So I just get with him and give him my information, right?
Information being documents, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
No, sir, you don't get with him. You mail them to him. You file them with the court. So the court has a copy and he has a copy.
Okay, then.
Anything else, Mr. Reese?
No, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day. You're free to go.
And you say the 24th, right?
Yes, sir. Notice will be mailed to you January 24th at 2 PM.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, 2:30 PM, 2:30.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good
Have
day.
a good day. Yep. Thank you.
you. And then, Mr. Joseph, there were Garrett, Knight, and Larkin that spoke with Lakeshore at the last hearing. I'm not sure if Lakeshore has been retained in those matters.
It's now my understanding that they've not reached out to us and we don't have any record of an appearance having been filed in either one of those cases or.
Your Honor?
Yes?
Danette McLemore, and I am here for Lenise Larkin, and I did file an appearance today, Your Honor, and I've also filed a Form 539 with a copy of her verification regarding her rental assistance that she's applied for with the Department of Social
Thank you. Ms. McLemore, I'm cutting you short because there are some earlier scheduled matters. If you want to take a moment and talk to Mr. Joseph, I'll clear up these 1 o'clock cases and I'll get back to you momentarily.
Thanks, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you. 2302667 LT, Singh versus Shorter.
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. State your names.
Daljit Singh.
Lindsay Shorter.
Have the parties taken the opportunity to speak this afternoon?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there a resolution, Mr. Singh?
She said her worker need a provider ID, but she didn't contact me. I don't know what provider ID she's looking for.
I'm sorry, my question was there a resolution? Did you reach a settlement this afternoon?
Yes, we are on a settlement, but her worker asking for provider ID. Why she said delay?
I have so what happened was they were ready to pay him with the rental assistance, but he has to be registered with the DHS, and we weren't aware of this at the time. So she said, what I have to do is basically I got the number for you to register too. She just gave it to me. So she said, basically, you'll have to register with the DHS. They're going to give you a provider number, and that way they'll know to send the payment to who. Because the problem was they were ready to pay, but they just didn't know where to send the payment to because he isn't registered with the DHS. But I did get approved, but they denied it because of the provider ID number. So
Mr. Singh, do you intend to register with DHS to receive this rental assistance?
Yeah, did not contact me. I need her phone number.
I have the number right here. I can give it to you. I just got the number from her, and they said that it'll take a day or two. But because they had to deny the application, she said it could take up to 10 days to process it again. But she said as long as I just submit the summons and then you call this number that I have here to register, then they'll send you the payment directly to you.
Then, wait a minute, Mr. Singh, what is the rent that is owing in this case?
Like how much rent talk about?
Yes.
1 second. It's a the rent is 3,000 and water bill 315 and court cost 125. So that's about
$3,315 in unpaid rent, sir?
yes.
Is that correct, Ms. Shorter?
Yes.
The judgment will enter, ma'am, for $3,315 and then $125 in court costs. And as much as you acknowledge that that is accurate, there is not a tribal issue. Mr. Singh is entitled to entry of judgment in that amount. What I'll have you do, Mr. Singh, you'll need to file that judgment with the court.
Okay.
Ms. Shorter,
Yeah.
you'll have 10 days to pay that amount or vacate the property. But what I'll do is have you go back into the breakout room, exchange the information that he needs
I can't do that in 10 days because in the holidays and everything, I couldn't even get in touch with the DHS. And because we didn't have just one simple thing, it's going to take them up to 10 days to even process it. So 10 days just wouldn't be enough for me to move me and my 5 children. When I've been applying with the DHS since November, I've been applying since October, but they kept denying it. First, they denied it because we didn't have the summons. When they did give me the 7-day notice, it wasn't the right one. So then I had to have him get another one. So then he gave me that one. So then I sent this one. Now they're saying that they need the provider ID. And I wasn't aware of that. And I don't know why they wouldn't reach out to the landlord for something like that. But I have 5 kids. My son just got autism. That's why I had to take off work because he was going to school and the school was calling me to come get him every single day. So 10 days, that's just not enough time to vacate me and my kids, which I don't even plan on vacating. I'm working now. I just needed the DHS to catch up the back rent.
Ms. Shorter, I understand that and I appreciate that, but how you pay, if you pay, is a conversation that you have with Mr. Singh.
Right.
Okay. So what I'm saying is go into the breakout room, give him the information that he needs to accept the rental assistance payment from DHS.
And then if it takes them longer to process it in 10 days, I have to move.
That is a conversation that you have with Mr. Singh. Mr. Singh does not have to take next action in 10 days. If you have
Oh,
conversation
okay. I
with
thought
him
you were
and you have
saying, like-
arrangements with him.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. You understand what I'm saying now?
Yeah, no, I was just a little confused. I thought you were saying when you said the judgment, I thought that was entering in for me to be evicted. That's what confused me.
There's a step after the judgment, but Mr. Singh is entitled to entry of judgment when you do not dispute the amount.
Oh, well,
So do
yeah,
this, go back into, Mr. Singh, file the judgment with the dollar amounts that were just placed on the record. Go back into the breakout room. You can let me get you back where you were. Go back in that same breakout room and exchange the information that he needs to get with DHS or call him if you all have contact with one another. Go back into the breakout room, get the information exchanged. Mr. Singh, file your judgment, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
we're-
Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you. 2302703 LT. Sandra Maljak versus Sammy Mosley. Unmute yourself, state your name for the record, please.
Sandra Maljak.
Mr. Mosley, unmute yourself, turn your camera on and state your name for the record, please. Ms. Maljak, have you spoken to Mr. Mosley this afternoon?
Yes, we didn't discuss him when he's gonna move though.
Did you reach an agreement with him?
Nope.
I have called this case, Mr. Mosley. I'm sending a request for him to unmute and start his video. Sammy Mosley.
He's there in the courtroom, I believe.
I know, ma'am. I can
Oh.
see him. I need him to unmute himself and state his name for the record. I'm with you.
Yeah, can you hear me speaking now?
Yeah.
I can now. Thank you, Mr. Mosley. State your name for me, sir.
My name is Sammy Mosley, and I'm not familiar with the phone that I'm working on. And
Mr. Mosley, Mr. Mosley, it's fine. You're fine. You've had the chance to speak to Ms. Maljek.
yes, ma'am.
Have you reached an agreement with her?
I reached agreement to the extent to where it's like she told me what she wanted to happen, and like I was just I couldn't really dispute it because I just had a hip replacement. But like it's like whatever you all say I have to do, I ain't got no choice but to make it happen, ma'am.
So my question, Mr. Mosley, did you reach an agreement? Is your response no?
We reached agreement to a certain extent, and she said,
Mr. Mosley, what's the agreement?
She was saying that it wasn't. You didn't get worried about the money. She just didn't want me there anymore.
That's correct, sir. This is a termination case. Ms. Maljek, what's the agreement that you reached with Mr. Mosley?
I didn't reach no agreement with them. That's why I had to come to court.
Okay. I asked that you speak this afternoon and you both said yes. I asked, was there an agreement? And Mr. Mosley says yes, but you're saying no.
No agreement was made. He
Okay.
has not said when he's going to move out.
Okay, so I was under the impression like I was waiting till I go to court. You already told me you wanted me out, but I want like you said had to go through the court procedures, and I needed some time because I just had a hip replacement.
Mr. Mosley, how much time are you looking for, sir?
30 days would be substantial for me. 30 to 60 days is possible.
No, sir, that's a bit long.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Maljek, are you able to discuss some
I would go for the
time
30
beyond
days.
10 days with Mr. Mosley?
I would go for the 30 days.
30 days? You'll allow him 30 days to vacate?
Yes.
Mr. Mosley,
Yes, ma'am.
is that sufficient time for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Maljek, submit a judgment that indicates that Mr. Mosley will vacate the property 30 days from today, okay?
Yes.
Anything else, Ms. Maljek?
No.
Anything else, Mr. Mosley?
No, ma'am.
You'll get a copy of the judgment in the mail after Ms. Maljek presents it. The court will sign it. Have a good day. Good luck to you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. 2302850 LT Wellesley versus Quates.
So do I have to go to court? What'd she say?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Mark Swessinger appearing on behalf of plaintiff.
Ms. Quates, have you state your name for the record, ma'am?
Ariane Quates.
Have the parties had the opportunity to speak?
I believe Ms. Quates just joined, so I didn't get a chance to speak to her. But I can say this, Judge, I guess with permission, we're looking for, there's a bit of a dispute here about possession. She says she's vacated, so if Ms. Cates will agree, and if the court will do this, we'll dismiss the case so long as we can put into the other conditions that essentially plaintiff can retake possession immediately and remove any and all property that's left in the rental unit.
Ms. Quates, have you vacated?
Yes, ma'am. I've been in St. Thomas. I moved. I have a storage. I can show proof of that because I've submitted documents. I vacated that apartment in October. That apartment has been completely empty since then.
Did you turn keys back over to Wellesley?
Yes, ma'am. I had my cousin do it. He sent me a text message picture at the Wellesley box office where you drop rent, mail, anything that you need to leave, which Miss Sheila was aware of. And I did submit that text message picture to the court.
And Judge, I will say I saw the picture. My clients indicated they don't have keys. They haven't wanted to retake possession because they didn't want to have a lockout situation. So again, we'd be agreeable to dismissing so long as we can put language into it, just indicating that defendant is vacated. Plaintiff may retake immediate possession and remove any and all property or belongings that may remain in the unit.
Ms. Quates, raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Quates. You may put your hand down. Ma'am, did you vacate the property located at Wellesley Townhomes in October of 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
And ma'am, do you authorize Wellesley Townhomes to retake possession of the house and dispose of any property that may be remaining therein?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any objection to this case being dismissed?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Schlesinger's office will prepare a dismissal that indicates that Wellesley may retake possession of the unit immediately and release you from any obligation going forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Your Honor. Yes.
Anything
Thank
else,
you, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Schlesinger?
I believe I have one ready with Mr. Hudson.
Anything else as it relates to Ms. Quates?
Oh, no, Ms. Porter, no, that should do it. We'll submit the dismissal.
Thank you, Ms. Quates. Good luck to you, ma'am. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good New Year. Thank you.
2302861 LT Wellesley versus Ronald Hudson.
Yes.
State your name, sir.
Ronald Hudson.
Mr. Schlesinger.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Mark Schlesinger, standing in for the attorney of record on behalf of plaintiff.
How are we
Judge-
proceeding this afternoon?
Well, I'll say this. Mr. Hudson and I did have an opportunity to speak. We were here last week. Mr. Hudson requested to talk to legal aid, which he did. Back today, I don't know that there's much of a dispute over the rent. Mr. Hudson has indicated that he has applied for assistance and can, it sounds like, submit to the court whatever documentation is necessary. Is the court willing or wanting to adjourn those matters where assistance has been applied for, or proceeding?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Hudson, have you filed the DC 539 form with the court yet? It's the form that shows the court where it is that you've applied for rental assistance.
Yeah, I went on the 22nd, and the court was closed. I wasn't aware of that, but I'm actually going there today. They close at 3:30, so I'm getting ready to go there. But I did apply via SCR, which came with a tracking.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hudson, I'm going to interrupt you. So you have not filed that form?
No, I have not filed that form.
Okay. That form is available online, sir. You can complete it on the court's website.
Okay, so I don't have to physically go.
Not unless you want to, sir.
Okay.
You're welcome to. We're open to you, but you don't have to physically come here.
Okay.
Okay?
I appreciate it.
Get that DC 539 file. Again, it's on the court's website, or if you want to come in person, file it. Like I said, that's fine as well, but the court will adjourn this matter over to January 24th at 11 a.m.
Okay.
That doesn't mean wait, sir. You need to get that form filed. And if you receive the rental assistance, make sure it's turned over to Wellesley, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else, Mr. Schlesinger?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. 2302851 LT Wells. I'm sorry, Mr. Hudson, you're free to go, sir. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Thank you.
2302851 LT Wellesley versus Porter.
Yes. Good afternoon, Your Honor. Mark Schlesinger, standing in for the attorney of record on behalf of plaintiff.
Good afternoon, George of Lakeshore Legal Aid on behalf of Ms. Porter, who's present on Zoom.
I'm sorry, Mr. George, that wasn't showing an appearance filed by you. Have you spoken to Mr. Schlesinger regarding this matter?
Yes, Your Honor, and we have agreed to the terms of a consent judgment to resolve this matter.
Wonderful. What are those terms, please?
Your Honor, this is a consent judgment. We've got $94 rent to retain possession, $185.75 in cost. Total retained possession, $279.75. Parties have further agreed that Ms. Porter shall have until 1/31/24 to pay those amounts, but also has to pay her January rent by January 5th of 2024. If either of those amounts are not paid, plaintiff can request a writ. Defendant further agrees to waive the 56-day rule. And finally, the parties agree that if the $279.75 and the January rent are paid per the agreement, then upon defendant's request, plaintiff will agree to set this judgment aside.
Is that your complete understanding, Mr. George?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Thank you. The court will await receipt of the consent judgment with those terms. Have a good day. Thank you for your persistence in resolving this matter.
Quick question, just Judge, Mr. George hasn't filed an appearance, so I'm just gonna submit that with Ms. Porter as a defendant. Is that fair?
I'm sorry.
My understanding is no appearance was filed, so I have this just as Ms. Porter. If not, I can change it to Mr. George as her attorney.
I will be filing an appearance shortly, Mr. Schlesinger. So yes, please fill in my information as the attorney.
Okay, will do. Then we'll submit that same terms.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
and
Mr. George.
apologies,
Ms.
Your Honor,
Porter.
for not having an appearance filed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. Miss Porter, you're free to go. Have a good day. Thank you, Mr. George.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. McLemore.
Yes, Your Honor. I am also going to be representing Lawrence Knight. And I did not file an appearance in this matter. I will get one filed today, Your Honor, along with us with the Form 539. He did provide me with notice that he has a pending social services application for state emergency relief from the Department of Social Services. So we will get that filed today.
And you discussed that with Mr. Joseph?
I did not. I saw his name pop up, and no, I had not had an opportunity to speak with Mr.
Please go in with Mr. Joseph and wrap up his last 3 cases. I'll resume the 1 o'clock hearing, and when you come out, if we're done, then we'll get an update on your cases, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Judge.
Thank you. This is a recall of 2302326 Maple Leaf versus Cheverton. My apologies, Mr. Lamon. Your next witness, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, ma'am. State your first and last name and then spell them both for the record, please.
Ashley Kunicky, ASHLEY, KUNYCKYJ.
Raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Come have a seat in this black chair that's closest to me, please. Mr. Lamon.
Thank you, Your Honor. And ma'am, I'm afraid I'm going to butcher your name, but my daughter was in Greece, and there's a character in Greece named Kunicky.
Yes,
so
that's exactly correct.
that's how I'm going to remember. Ms. Kunicky, what is your address?
1026 South Dowling, Westline, Michigan.
Right, so that is not within Maple Leaf Gardens South, is that correct? Are you acquainted with Ms. Wood, who just testified?
Yes.
In what way?
We've been friends for quite a few years.
Have you ever been to her home in Maple Leaf Gardens South?
Yes.
During those visits, have you interacted at any point in time with Mr. Shiverton?
Never. He and I just witnessed him doing what he was doing. I never said anything to him.
And do you remember when those occasions occurred?
There was actually 2 that I was there in person. There was a few that she was on the phone with me and I heard everything in the background.
All right.
I don't know the exact one.
Let's talk about what you witnessed in person. You said you were friends with Ms. Wood. So were you at her home based upon her invitation?
Yes.
Okay. She talked about in her testimony about an occasion where the 2 of you were dyeing each other's hair.
Yes.
Were you the individual who was present?
Yes.
Okay. What did you observe at that point in time?
When I had pulled up, the gentleman next door was outside, ranting and raving, cussing. There was loud music playing. I was actually unsure whether or not to get out of my vehicle because of his behavior that I was witnessing. I had called Mary to ask her what was going on. She had told me just to kind of wait. He'll end up going back inside. So that's what I did. Then I got out and went inside.
And the next door neighbor was Mr. Shiverton?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to show you what has been admitted into evidence as Exhibit 2. This was testified that she took the picture.
Yes.
Were you present when that picture was taken?
Yes.
Okay. And where was Mr. Shiverton physically at that point in time?
Well, he had gone inside when I had waited in my vehicle. And when I went inside, he came out of his home again and I heard him, her windows were open and her door was open. And we just heard him like circling from the front to the left side of her mobile home. And then he was just pacing back and forth.
This is pacing at her home?
Her trailer and his yard and her yard are very close. So I'm not really sure about the property lines on whose, but her window was open and he was completely at her window, screaming into the window where we were at.
And remember what he was screaming?
Just a lot of profanity. And then when he had gone back inside, she told me to ignore it. I said, what is going on? She said, just ignore it. He does it all the time. I'm so sick of it. He ended up going back inside, and when he had come back out, I went into the kitchen to get something to drink, and I had glanced out, and that's when I had noticed he had a huge butcher knife. It's actually a lot bigger than what this picture looks. And then he started coming back to the window and started saying that he's sick of these racist bitches and he is going to chop us up. So I immediately told Mary to call 911. We locked the door, shut the windows, and waited for the police to arrive.
All right, and he was directing that not only toward her, but toward you
to
as
myself
well.
as well, yes.
Okay. How about the second occasion? Do you have any recollection of the second occasion?
So this was actually the second occasion I had
Okay,
seen
what
him.
was, tell me about the first.
The first one, I had gone with my 16-year-old daughter and myself, and when we had pulled up, it was the exact same thing. We pulled up, the neighbor was outside, and he was doing the same exact thing. It looked like he was intoxicated that first time, and he was going back and forth, and he was going up and down the street, screaming and yelling, to the point where I was gonna leave and not even get out of my vehicle to go into Mary's home, because I had my daughter with me. Then he ended up going back into his home, and then that's when I went ahead and went into her house, and he continued the same behavior the whole time we were there.
Just yelling the whole time?
Yeah, just cussing, ranting and raving, saying that he's sick of everything and people are gonna pay, and he was just belligerently, it looked like he was intoxicated.
Did he call you a bitch that time around also?
Oh, he was just ranting and raving just in general, saying that these white bitches, they're gonna pay. And then
He wasn't directing it toward anybody in particular.
Oh, it was definitely directed at us. But he didn't say obviously like my name or her name. He was just saying these white bitches. And so I'm assuming it was towards us.
Okay. Did he make any specific threats toward your daughter?
No.
Did you call, or did you or Ms. Wood call 911 at that point?
Not the first occasion. The second time when he was brandishing the weapon and going up against the window and threatening to chop us up, absolutely. We shut and locked the windows and door.
Were you present when the police arrived?
Yes, I was.
Did you make a statement to the police?
Yes, I did.
And did they attempt to question Mr. Shiverton?
Oh yeah, yep. He was outside the whole entire time, and until the police officers pulled up, and he immediately ran into his trailer. And the cops tried to say something to him. He wouldn't open the door. A couple of the police officers came in and spoke with us to make sure that we were okay. We heard the entire thing, and he was just refusing to come out. And there was nothing they can do. They said we had to take it to the office and make our reports with the police officers.
I have no further questions of Ms. Kanicki.
Thank you. Mr. Shiverton, do you have any questions for Ms. Kanicki?
Yes, hello.
You're muted, sir.
Okay. No, I don't know who she is.
I'm sorry, sir.
Ma'am, no, I don't have any questions for her. I don't even know who she is.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony, ma'am.
Your Honor, point of precedence.
Thank you. Mr. Shiverton? Mr. Landman has rested. Do you intend to present any witnesses other than yourself this afternoon?
No, ma'am.
Kim, would you turn that on for me, please? Can you turn that on for me, please? Thank you. Mr. Shiverton, raise your right hand for me, please, sir. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You may put your hand down. Your testimony, Mr. Shiverton.
Thank you. I've lived here for 2 years, Your Honor. I've never encountered the police. I've never been in handcuffs. I've never been put in a police car. I've never had a conversation with an officer.
Mr. Shiverton, I'm sorry, but whatever is in your background, it sounds like maybe a window is open or something.
Really?
Or there's some noise that sounds like an echo of some sort.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, sir. I want to be sure that Mr. Lamon, who is sitting in a different part of the courtroom, can hear you as well.
Yes, ma'am. I have my phone on. It's saying 20%. Trying to keep it. I don't.
I'm sorry, Mr. Shiverton, you say you've been there for 2 years?
Yes, ma'am. I've been here for 2 years. I've had the police called up multiple times, and there's never been a crime being committed. I've also had people drive past me, give Mary would, particularly, I could be a day where I'm doing nothing, drive by and keep up this narrative that I'm a person. I don't feel that I'm a bad person. I live here. She's my neighbor. I have good days and bad days, and so I have had bad days. And some of the things that she said, like if I was mad about something, I don't doubt that I will admit that I have had bad days because she's my neighbor. But she's the only person in the United States that sees me go through that, and that's because she's my neighbor, open watching me. And so, but the thing is that I live alone, ma'am. I don't have a girlfriend, so I have never had an argument with a woman in here. The few times that I have been mad here, I've been mad, but that, in my opinion, does not mean that you can treat me bad 365 days a year. And in my opinion, in this situation, that's what's going on, is that I had a bad day one time and she never wanted to forgive me for it. But the truth is, the majority of the days I look exactly like I'm looking right now. I'm doing nothing to nobody. I've been through situations before where I've been through that at jobs, and I've in high school I've had people that do those types of things that people. All I'm saying, I don't judge other people because I know how life is. It's ups and downs in life. I don't. She has seen me in bad moments because she's my neighbor. But I thought that's what I paid my rent for, was to be able to, if I have a bad day, to do it in the presence of my own home. I've never threatened her. She's actually hit me, and she's actually.
I'm sorry, Mr. Shiverton. You said you've never threatened her, but what?
No, I've never threatened her, but she's actually physically attacked me, which is a crime. She's actually called me racial slurs. I don't call her racial slurs because my mom is white. So I don't appreciate even to act like a mixed man could make judgments on white or black. I'm white and black. So for me to think that I would say that, everything that she's saying is hearsay. And whatever, if she's recording me, she's recording me, but I live at home and I'm a threat to her. She's actually gave me slurs and called me the N-word straight to my face while I'm just sitting on my phone. I live in a trailer that's aluminum, and so it's hard for my service. One part of my home, Your Honor, is that I have a patio. So a lot of times my phone won't work and I'll go out on my patio while I'm playing music in my house, by the way, in my house. Not outside, not a loudspeaker, loud radio, nothing. Just on my phone, little Bluetooth speaker. And I'll kind of go out there to get some music, and she'll open the door and harass me. I've actually been harassed by this woman. I have documented it. My mother told me to document it. There's times where I wrote notes. This is May of 2023. She hadn't seen me all winter because in the winter it's dark at 5 o'clock. And so I started going out my back patio so that I don't encounter her on this side of my home. So she hadn't seen me for 5 months, and I came out to pick some weeds, and I'm picking weeds in my yard, and she comes out like, we got to get rid of him, and I want him gone. This was May. This was after not encountering me for 4 months. And it just seems like the more and more I take care of my cats, and I'm a stand-up guy, the worse and worse this girl is like. I hate his guts, and I don't know how else to explain it other than it just seems racially motivated to me because, again, the more and more I try to avoid her, the more and more she wants to like a soap opera, wants to kick up dust and keep the narrative going. But the truth is, I, in my opinion, would have either A, went to jail if I was doing something bad, or B, because I don't, ma'am, Your Honor, how would I know she's calling the police? And so how am I magically just in the house safe and chilling when it comes? And if I'm so drunk, I'm of course not gonna be moving like on point. I'm gonna be slipping up. Police are gonna, if I had a knife and was brandishing a knife, the police would have seen me out here with a knife because she called the police on me any chance she gets. So how in anyone's right mind can you imagine that I've been here 2 years and in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I could be wrong, but in my opinion, she really wanted to get me locked up. She really wanted me to encounter the police, something George Floyd to happen, like to see me in hand. Since it never worked, she started taking it to the office. I got to get rid of him. But in all honesty, if I was doing anything around with a person who has no problem calling the police, I would have either went to jail or the police would have put up on me and seen me doing something. Every time the police have come, they bash on my door with guns on them. That's the most heinous thing going on. That's scary to me because I've been stabbed 8 times. So I don't appreciate someone saying I play with knives. I don't even like knives. I got stabbed 30 times in one night. So that sounds crazy to me in itself. I don't play with knives because if I pull out a knife, someone might pull a knife, I might get stabbed. I've been through that before. It was scary. So everything she's saying to threaten a girl, man, I don't need a knife for a girl. That's crazy to me. I've never been assaulted. I've never assaulted a woman with a weapon in my life and never would. My mom raised me better than that. That's just my testimony in the situation. So I'm here to stand up for myself and give my opinion. That's it. It's just my opinion. I am a human being. I do have bad days, but that doesn't mean a person can just torture me the whole 2 years I live here. You want to bring the bad day I had. Like, it's over. It's done with. Okay, you recorded it. It's over. Leave me alone. And she'll come and show me the recording. Look, I have you looking crazy. I just be looking at her like I'm watering my flowers right now. And so every day I'm just ready watching someone try to make me out some monster. And I'm just like, oh, my mom comes here every day. Pulls up whenever she wants to. She don't call me or anything. My mom never encountered.
I'm sorry. Do you need to step outside?
Who?
Ma'am, do you need to step outside? Thank you.
And drops
Yes,
off
sir.
groceries. My own mother comes and drops off groceries every day and has never complained about my conduct. And my mom is one to check me. So I have parents, family that pull up whenever they want, and my house is in beautiful condition. Nothing's broken in here. I've never been in an argument with anyone, anything. There's never been anything other than this going on. She just swears to God, I need to go. But in my opinion, I would at least encounter the police. I mean, this is ludicrous to me. So I know, that country is hard. I live around all women, and none of them are the color of me. So she don't understand me. I have the police called on me for listening to music, and I've had the police called on me for arguing with my kid's mother on the phone about a visit with my kid. And so, in my opinion, you'll call the police on me if I'm having a good time or a bad time. I don't have an invisible cloak to just invisibly come in and out the house. I ride a bike, see me walking. They encounter me. I've been without a job, so she encountered me and be mad at me. Like, you need to get a job, MFer, and all this stuff. I have to be looking like, how do you know how much money I got? She's told me that I don't pay for an hour.
I'm sorry, Mr. Shiverton.
I've heard
your audio, sir. Your audio is not the best. I'm trying.
Well, I'm done. Your Honor.
Mr. Shiverton, I'm not trying to short circuit your testimony. I just want you to understand that I can hear you, but your audio is not consistent. You're breaking up.
Very hard.
So I heard you say that your neighbor said something to you about working or getting a job, and then after that is where I lost you.
Okay.
Was there something else you wanted to say, sir?
Only if you could hear me that she's insulted me 90,000 different times, and it just comes off to me like that's something my girlfriend was mad at me. And I'm like, I'm not your boyfriend, I'm your neighbor. You don't know what I do and how much money I got or my rent if I need it. It just comes off very nosy and very trolling. And that's what I gotta say. She's nosy and controlling. And she cry and get me kicked out of my house. This is my home. I have 6 kids. She has time to do this. I'd be worried about my Christmas presents for my kids and things that are real life things, paying my rent and stuff. I think she has time to engage in this type of thing. So I'm sorry, I'm done.
Thank you. Mr. Lamon.
Your Honor, I had some hearing issues with interference as well, but I'm going to blame that on the fact that I'm old. Mr. Shiverton, you said you had 6 children?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever apply to have those children be approved as authorized occupants in your home?
No.
Okay, in fact, you do remember signing your lease, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and there's nobody listed as an authorized occupant on the first page of the lease. That's why I was asking you. And you remember the rules and regulations as well?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Shiverton, I've got in front of me 6 police reports, and I can give you the dates of when the police were at your residence. If you want me to, do you agree that the police have been to your home a number of times?
You said 6. Yes, in 2 years, 6.
Okay. And actually, it wasn't within 2 years. It was within a span of 6 months. And 5 of them were within a span of 2 weeks in spring and fall of 2023. Do you remember the police coming to your home?
There were times when I looked out my window. I can't say I remember 6 times, but I do remember looking out my window and seeing officers in my yard outside.
Were there occasions where you then went into your home and wouldn't talk to the officers?
No, sir. I wouldn't even know if the officers were pulling up.
All right, so it's your testimony that every time the officers came to your door, you talked to them?
No, I've only encountered the police on 2 or 3 occasions when I looked at her hanging on my door, so I was wondering what was going on, and I looked and seen him. And there's a couple times when I told the officers to be careful, be safe, and have a nice. That was about what I would say to them.
All right. Let me give you a specific example. April 22nd, 2023. It is what the police report states is that they came to your home and they could hear you yelling. But when they walked up to your porch, you turned around, ran into your home, turned off the lights, and closed your blinds, and then you wouldn't open the door. Do you have any recollection of that?
No, sir.
All right. Are you suggesting that that was an untruthful report?
Yes, sir. The only truth, I might have closed my blinds and I seen some lights flashing in or something. He said it was April. And then did it say what time, sir?
Yes, I can tell you that it was April 22nd at 9:54 p.m.
So that was probably dark outside. So yes, sir. If I had a they were flashing lights. That's what police do usually if they come and want to stay in your house. So if I seen some lights flashing in, I probably closed the blinds.
All right. August 6th, the police again issued a report that you had been on a different neighbor's porch during the night. Do you remember talking to the police at all about that?
No, sir.
Okay. July 27th, the police report indicates they were called by Ms. Wood and they attempted to make contact with you and you didn't answer the door. And they could hear you inside the residence and that you didn't talk to them. Do you remember anything about that at all?
No, sir. I might have been on the phone having a conversation. If someone can hear me in my house, that's not a violation. rule that I'm at my own home. So they could have heard me. I can't say that they didn't. If you hear me in my house, be music
September
playing.
14th, the police report indicates they were called by Ms. Wood. And this time they spoke with you. You remember speaking with the police that day?
No, sir. Not unless I
You
told them
remember
to be.
telling the police that you were in fact being very loud, but you couldn't help that because you had been shot and stabbed 38 times?
No, sir. Don't recall telling any officer my business. I don't talk to police.
So you don't remember talking to the police and telling them?
No, sir.
Okay. September 17th, 3 days later, in the afternoon, there's a police report and a suggestion that when they approached your home, you closed all your exterior doors and locked them, and that you were unwilling to speak with the officers. Do you remember interacting with the officers on the 17th of September?
No, sir. I do not. I did not call the police that day. If I was closing my doors, I was walking in my house. That's what you do when you walk in your house.
September 24th, there's a police report that suggests that you called the police and told the police on the phone that people were trying to kill you. And then when they came to your door, you wouldn't answer. Do you remember anything about that?
I remember calling the police when Mary scratched me up because the park manager had heard that she had put her hands on me because I was having a good time. She ran out of her house and tried to scratch me up for some reason. I was just hanging with some friends. And so I ran in the house. A week later, I seen Miss Shannon. She's
was
also.
that perhaps, sir, was that perhaps on October 4th?
No. Wait.
There's a police report from October 4th that says that you called and told the police that you were assaulted by an unknown female. Now, you knew who Ms. Wood was.
May I answer? After Miss Wood put her hands on me and I seen Miss Shannon a week later, she said if she does that again, call the police. So when her friend, some male that she knows, pulled up and ran and fought me, that was the day that I did call the police. By the time he came, he was gone. I didn't go out there. But she told me if they put their hands on me again to call the police. So yes, that day when they assaulted me. I do recall.
Well, let me tell you what the report says, and you can tell me if it's accurate. On October 4th, you advised the police you were assaulted by an unknown female, not a male, a female. And the officers claimed to have come to your home and that you were visibly intoxicated. You were unable to articulate why you called the police, and you refused to exit your porch to speak with the officers. Is that report inaccurate in any way?
No, sir.
Okay, that what the police claimed there was all correct.
Unless they said I was intoxicated, that's just hearsay. That's their opinion. They don't know that for sure. Unless
That's based on their observations, yes.
That's an opinion.
Your Honor, I don't know if it's possible for you to, of course, I don't know if it's possible for you to hold the photo up to your screen.
That's not me, it's Officer Brooks. Towards the Polycom. Mr. A little higher, Mr. Shiverton, I'm not sure if you can see this picture. Give me 1 second. Back towards me a little, Ken.
Back it up.
Up
Okay.
a little bit. Mr. Shiverton, okay.
Mr. Shiverton, do you see that photograph?
Yep. It's a good picture.
Can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Okay. That
Thanks,
photograph
Ken.
has been admitted into evidence as Exhibit 2. And my question for you is that you?
Yes, it looks like.
Okay.
Thanks, Ken.
Mr. Shiverton, have you ever made any written complaints to the office, to the manager or general manager at Maple Leaf Gardens South about Ms. Wood?
No, sir.
Okay. Have you ever made any police reports about Ms. Kanicki?
No, sir.
Okay. How about Ms. Kanicki's daughter? Have you made any reports about her?
No, sir. I don't know.
Ms. Wood testified, and Ms. Kanicki I guess Ms. Kanicki testified that you called her and Ms. Wood bitches. Is that correct?
No, sir.
You never called them bitches.
No, sir. Like she said on the top.
And did you ever say that you were going to butcher either or both of them?
Of course not. No.
All right. Your Honor, I have no further questions of Mr. Shiverton.
Thank you. Mr. Shiverton, is there anything else you'd like to say at this time?
No, ma'am. No, Your
Thank you. Any closing?
Briefly, Your Honor, I appreciate your entertaining us this afternoon. The lease is very clear. Rules and regulations are very clear. Ms. Conway read into the record, I think, what are the applicable rules and regulations. Mr. Shiverton is required under the rules and regulations to conduct himself in a fashion that ensures the quiet enjoyment of others. He's not supposed to engage in any kind of noise or unruly behavior that interferes with the peaceful enjoyment of others. He's not supposed to have any kind of weapons that he's brandishing. Mr. Shiverton, a picture here speaks 1,000 words. Mr. Shiverton admits that the photo is of him with a knife, and we've heard the circumstances from the testimony of the witnesses regarding.
Say that's me with the knife.
Regarding the fact that it was a butcher knife and the language that he utilized at that time. Mr. Shiverton has been a frequent subject of police visits. Sometimes when he has requested them, he has, according to the police, and he didn't necessarily deny it, there were occasions where the police were called and then he wouldn't speak with them. And so if the police can't complete their investigation, it's hard for Mr. Shiverton to be charged with a crime. And I think that's his escape route, that he thinks he can engage in the conduct that he has engaged in and that was testified to thoroughly by Ms. Wood and by Ms. Kanicki, and that he's not going to get in any kind of trouble because the police can't complete any kind of investigation. He's not going to get charged, and as long as he's not convicted, then he can't be evicted. And convicted and evicted both end with victed, but there's two separate meanings and there's two separate standards. And Your Honor is well aware of the standard for a civil action. That is not beyond a reasonable doubt, which would be a criminal charge. It's weight of the evidence. And the court has heard ample evidence from Ms. Wood and from Ms. Kanicki, who doesn't really have a dog in this fight, and has observed the photo and has observed the complaint that was made by Ms. Wood to the office, detailing multiple occasions of adverse interactions where he has been unduly noisy, where Mr. Shiverton has been threatening, has threatened to butcher her, has called her a bitch on numerous occasions. The question is he just a bad neighbor or has he violated the rules and regulations? And he's been far more than simply a bad neighbor. When the police are coming often, when he is engaging in yelling and screaming, intoxicated or not, he's having more than just a bad day. When you bring in additional people, in this case, Ms. Kanicki and her daughter, it transcends simply being a bad neighbor. He has violated the rules and regulations of the community, and therefore, by the weight of the evidence, we believe we have met our burden and presented a case that is sufficient to justify the entry of a possession judgment that would require Mr. Shiverton to vacate within 10 days or by the end of the day on January 8th. He would by law have 90 days to move or sell his home. And for that, he could talk to Ms. Conway, maybe that the property is interested in purchasing his home, but he would have that right to move the home or sell it to a different owner. They would just need to qualify for residency in the community. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. You actively smoking in court, Mr. Shiverton?
But I'm done. I won't. Sorry.
That's okay. Your closing argument, Mr. Shiverton.
Your Honor, I just want to ask, I know it's hard to hear me. I want to apologize to the court for even being in this situation. I love my home, and I'm sorry that I'm in this situation. If it matters at all, sorry, Miss Marywood. If her having to be here, for the owners to have to be here, just when considering what happens in this situation, that I'm given all the rights that are by law for me, just find another home and sell my trailer, and I'm not to anybody. I never will be. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. The court, having had the opportunity to hear the testimony of Ms. Conway, Ms. Wood, Ms. Kanicki, and Mr. Shiverton, and view the evidence submitted by Mr. Lamon and take note of the police report cited by Mr. Lamon, the plaintiff's request to recover possession of the property will be granted. Mr. Lamon will file the appropriate judgment given the fact that this is a mobile home community. And Mr. Lamon, you can either submit that downstairs or you have your office submitted by on base, my file.
Your Honor, I noticed as we were in a break this afternoon that the form that my office had drafted is the wrong form. It is the conventional judgment form. It is not the manufactured home community form that gives Mr. Shiverton 90 days to move or sell the home. So when I return to my office this afternoon, we will get the paperwork properly drafted, and we will submit that using e-filing. As reluctantly as I say it.
Thank you.
It's still a work in progress for our office, but maybe for the court as well.
The court as well, sir. Mr. Shiverton, Mr. Lamon's office will submit that judgment that indicates 10 days for you to physically vacate, 90 days for you to sell, move, or transfer the subject home. A copy will be mailed to you once Mr. Lamon's office presents it and this court signs it. That concludes this matter. Mr. Shiverton, you're free to go. Good luck to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good rest of the day.
You too. Happy New Year, sir. This is 2302887 LT. This is Pinewood Circle versus Garrett.
Good afternoon, Judge Joe Joseph, the plaintiff.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Jeanette McLemore, appearing on behalf of Ms. Garrett. I did speak with Ms. Garrett. She did contact our offices last week. She provided me with some information, including the form showing that she has applied for rental assistance. With that, Your Honor, I will file that document today. I understand the timing is an issue. However, because of the holidays, it has not been filed, but it will be filed today. And I will also file an appearance today on behalf of Ms. Garrett.
Thank you. I'll make a notation that the DC 539 is on its way here, that Ms. McLemore is in fact representing Ms. Garrett. The return date for this case will be the 24th at 11 a.m. Is there anything else, Mr. Joseph?
No, nothing further.
Anything else, Ms. McLemore?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. 2302894 LT, Maxwell versus Lawrence Knight.
Joe Joseph, our plaintiff.
And Your Honor, Jeanette McLemore, appearing on this, excuse me, on behalf of Mr. Knight. Mr. Knight is present. And Your Honor, the same thing. I will be filed. Mr. Knight has provided me with information showing that he's applied for state SER with Department of Health and Human Services, and I will be filing that form today, along with the form 539, along with my appearance.
Thank you. The court will put the matter over to January the 24th, 2024 at 11 a.m. back on Zoom. Is there anything else, Mr. Joseph?
Nothing further.
Anything else, Ms. McLemore?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Knight, good luck to you, sir. You're free to go. You have a good day. Two 302-897 LT Maxwell versus Lenice Larkin.
Your Honor,
Joe Joseph or plaintiff.
and Danette McLemore appearing on behalf of Ms. Larkin. And Your Honor, in this case, an appearance has been filed in the 539 form, has been filed with the court, along with verification that she has applied for social services with the SER for rental assistance through SER. And we're asking that this be put over to the 24th date as well.
Thank you. Back on the January 24th at 11 a.m. back on Zoom. Anything else, Mr. Joseph?
No, nothing further. I know Ms. McLemore, I just wanted to let you know I did speak with Ms. Garrett. This is before I knew you were representing her. She did tell me that she had spoken with you. So I obviously ceased those communications, and then you and I spoke. So I just want to disclose that to you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Ms. McLemore. And Ms. Garrett, you're free to go. Ms. Larkin, you're free to go. Mr. Joseph, we had Ms. Fuller appear untimely. This is 2302891 LT Pinewoods versus Fuller. Ma'am, unmute yourself, state your name for the record. Ms. Fuller?
Yes, hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Your case was scheduled at 1:15. The court called it at 1:53. You arrived at 2:15. The attorney is here for Pinewoods.
I've been on the line since 1:29 and they sent me to the wrong place and I held there for like 30 minutes. I'm sorry.
Ma'am, the attorney has appeared for Pinewood Circle and indicates that there's rent due in the amount of $2,813. Is that the correct amount of unpaid rent?
Yes, yes. And
ma'am, inasmuch as you admit that the amount of rent claim due and owing is accurate, there's not a triable issue and the court will enter the judgment for that amount. The judgment will indicate that you need to pay or vacate the property by January 8th, 2024.
Okay. Judge, I was paying it on the 29th.
I'm sorry?
I was paying it on the 29th. I was in court last Wednesday also. I didn't know I had to come back, but I told the court that I was paying it on the 29th.
You're paying it 2 days from now?
Yes, ma'am.
That will resolve the matter, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
Anything else, Ms. Fuller?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day. Good luck to you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Anything else, Mr. Joseph?
Nothing further, Judge. Seems like it's been a day for everybody. So happy New Year, Judge.
Same to you, sir. Have a good day.
You too.
Marianne, that concludes our docket for the year.
Ah, that sounds crazy, doesn't it?